something that seemed pretty mandatory for both males and females, and it also seemed that because the women went to like Islamic camp and the boys went to soldiers camp. And since they've been doing it for 20-something years, that's like 1.5 generations, maybe 2 generations of people that are like fully trained to be child soldiers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's since they're like very little children.
So are they a part of the 70% women and children? No, they're older, right?
No, they are older, of course. Like, you got the kids that start being militants at around 13, 14 years old.
And they know like 70% women and children.
No, but it's the 70% thing, the narrative. I don't know if you were paying attention when I was talking about this, but it's because most of the men that have been killed are militants, so not civilians. There are no civilian men, or barely any.
That's propaganda.
So when you take into consideration, hold on, when you take into consideration the civilian population,
that's propaganda.
You got mainly, no, it's not
That's
propaganda.
propaganda. Yeah, it is.
Listen,
You can't
go and look to the raw data yourself, Otelo. Go and look to the raw data yourself. This is something that if you have an analytical brain and you see the raw data of where they are taking the reports, you can come up with this conclusion. This is not something that is being talked about out there.
How many Gazans are there in total?
Like 2 million?
Some people say the number is actually 1.2.
1.2 million. Oh.
Some people, that's what they're saying because. Pardon?
That's a big jump right there. 2
Yeah,
million.
well, that's the people. They're not good faith actors. They lie about numbers.
Okay. And
so there's speculation too, and then there's other speculation.
So
So
where did you get your number from? From the UN?
Oh my God, the raw numbers are coming from the UN.
So 2 million.
The
2 million
narrative
Gazans.
is not from the UN. The narrative, what I am telling you is what I found out by looking at the numbers. But you don't look at raw numbers. What
How
you
many
do
Gazans
is that
are
you
men?
go.
How many Gazans are men? How many Gazans are men?
You go to news channels where you get the food already chewed just for you to swallow.
How many Gazans are men?
You are not used to cook your own food. You're not used to actually
Answer my question.
chew your own.
How many Gazans are men?
We don't know. What's your point?
So
Say
let's say
50%. Say 50%.
So
It
let's
doesn't
say about
matter.
a million.
50%, yeah.
Let's say it's about a million. So you're telling me so all of the men are Hamas?
No, nobody said that.
We said a million men are Hamas?
The vast majority of adult men, yes, they are militant.
It is a war crime that
So
they do not.
Hamas
They do
has
not
about
wear
900,000
uniforms.
members? So
They do not wear
Hamas-
uniforms, and therefore they are committing war crimes by committing acts of war.
So about 900,000 men?
Nobody said that. Why are you making these numbers up?
Well,
That's what I'm saying. We said roughly.
no,
We said 50% of 2 million.
no, because half of them are not all adults. So you need to account also for children that are men. So yeah, but you need to also think that this is not
propaganda.
this is not a
Zionist propaganda.
Wait, what's the propaganda? And what is the
How's it propaganda if it's called critical thinking?
This is not.
This is
What was the thing that you thought was
This is
propaganda?
not
don't even have definite
Oh my
numbers.
God, I'm gonna move him down.
No, I want to hear what he's
This is
talking
not
about for a
a
second.
formal
Othello,
military.
I assume
This
you
is
can't.
not hold on, Norm. This is not a formal military where you are enlisting to be part of Hamas. There are men that are fighting for a cause, quote unquote. So you don't need to be officially part of Hamas. You just need to be wanting to die for the same cause that Hamas is fighting. And they are brainwashed since they are very little children, including women.
So we can't accept the UN numbers that there are 20 to 40,000 Hamas.
The UN gets their numbers from Hamas. This is the point.
Correct.
So the UN is off about 800,000 members.
What do you mean?
Because she said most of the men.
The UN gets its numbers from Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist
She
group. They
said
don't
most
tell
of
the
the
truth.
male Gazans are militant. Right?
Yeah, and you need to account for the children, so it's not
So
half the
you-
population.
So
And
the UN.
if you had a brain, you would understand that when you are women and men in every place in the world. But then you need to account for children, and then you need to
Let me
account
tell you
for
something.
old people. You need to account for
that
old
they're
people.
fighting a million
We're talking
people
here
across.
about active adults that are able to take part in society.
This is so weird. Israel knows
Yeah,
that they're
so
fighting 900,000 people or not. Israel knows that they're fighting a million people or not, okay? The UN
Yeah,
says
this
that there's
guy is
20 to
retarded. How many
40,000
times do I have
Hamas members.
Wait, Ethan, let me
How many
talk this
times
first.
do I
No, Israel
have
also
to
hasn't
say-
killed a million people or targeted a million people.
Your propaganda won't stick.
I mean, Othello, what's the propaganda? What point are you trying to make?
Yeah.
What's your question?
She says that most of the men in Gaza are militants, are Hamas, right? The UN is reporting that there's 20.
Or
The UN is
sympathetic.
reporting
Hang on,
that there's 20 to
slowly.
40,000 members of Hamas. She also told me that there's 2 million Gazans.
All right,
And
do
you
you want
say,
to
okay, about half of them.
do you want to go one point at a time?
So you're telling me that the Israeli army is
Othello, you're
a
going too
million
fast.
people right now.
Hang on, Othello, you're going too fast. Go one point at a time. One point at a time. Yes. Most people in Gaza, say 70% or so, are sympathetic to Hamas or would vote for Hamas. Is that your question, Othello?
No, she said.
Okay. Don't worry about what anybody individual says. What point are you trying to make?
What I'm trying to make is she's saying most of the men
Yeah.
in Gaza are Hamas.
Yeah, okay. And so you have a question about it or what?
No, because the UN already gave the number. There's 20,000 to 40,000 Hamas members. So it
I
can't
think they're talking about active fighters. That's the distinction.
So
And we're talking about people who are also politically sympathetic.
supporters?
same way
They
people-
need to be enlisted.
The same way people joined the Nazi Party, even though they weren't necessarily fighting in the Nazi armies. It's
So
sort of a
if they're
similar
not
thing.
fighting and they die,
Yeah.
you say you can thus use propaganda and say that they were militant.
No,
You can give them that
no,
title,
no,
even though
you
they're
don't
not
need to.
fighting.
You don't need to say that.
Even though they're not fighting.
You don't need to say that. So people die in war, and there's collateral damage. And when the military embeds its assets in civilian areas, that maximizes the numbers of civilian deaths by design of the terrorists. Are you with me so far?
I'm here with you, but what I'm saying is her
Okay.
propaganda
So which part
does not fit.
did you understand what I just said, though?
I know what you're saying.
Okay, do
And
you
I agree.
dispute it? Okay,
But
we agree.
when we get to the numbers, they don't add up.
Okay, we're talking about two different categories of people, fighters and civilians who are sympathetic to Hamas. The big problem is the fighters. Now, the weird thing is that they will pass the weapons off to anybody around. For example, you go into an apartment and the father will hand off the gun to the wife and the wife will hand off the gun to the kid. And who do you shoot at that point? That's a bit of a
I
problem.
mean, yeah, bombs are headed in their way, and you got to protect what you got to protect at that point. Once they kick in your door, waving the 4-4,
Okay.
and all bets are off.
So then they're not civilians anymore.
Who's
So
what?
they're not,
Who's what?
so they're not civilians
They
anymore.
are civilians.
They're not civilians. If you're holding a gun, you're no longer a civilian. And let me give you some more. Wait, hang on. If you're holding a gun, you're not a civilian. You're a combatant. That's the law. But moreover, our friend on this app, who you could meet yourself, was kept in a civilian home. So now we have civilians who are holding hostages. That also makes them a legal target and a combatant. You still with me?
That's right.
Listen,
I'm listening.
there's not 900,000 members of Hamas and 900,000 militant men.
This
Okay,
guy is
fine.
retarded.
There's not. So what's your point?
She said that most of the men in Gaza, she
Yeah.
said all of the men in Gaza are militant. Let's just say 98% of the men in
Let's
Gaza
call
are militant.
it 80%. Let's say it's 80%, which seems
It's not
accurate.
80%.
Well, that's what the polls tell us. So I
That's
don't know
not
how.
what people tell us.
It's what the polls tell us, that about 80% is sympathetic or voted for Hamas and favor Hamas. Because remember, Hamas is also a political organization. They control every aspect of life. Every picture taken has to be approved by them. Every line of copy that comes out from any journalist has to be approved by them. Every time you pay for something, you got to pay them a tax. Every time you eat. Yeah. You hear what I said, though? They control every aspect of civilian
If
life.
Hamas really had 900,000 people,
Yeah.
militant people at their whim that they could
Yeah.
train up,
Yeah.
then it would be a different story.
Okay,
It's
you're
not
getting a
that.
little
It's
stuck
20
on the
to 40
900.
It's 20 to 40. It's 20 to 40,000 members.
Well, it depends
And
on
that's
who.
not most men in
That
Gaza.
means that's not members. You're not making the distinction between political Hamas and
20
army
to
Hamas.
40,000 members
Why
are
is that?
the ones that have gotten killed during.
Why are you
the
laughing,
war.
Othello? Why are you laughing?
Because there's only 20 to 40,000 members of
Oh my God! Yeah,
Well,
and you think
according to one
you think
calculation,
that the UN has access to the records of who is
The
Hamas?
UN
and
gets
who
the
is
info from
Libya?
Hamas.
If you do, but you were just going off the UN. You were just going off the UN.
the UN gets their info
That's
from
what I'm saying.
Hamas.
One day you like the UN.
I
No,
don't think you
I
have
don't like the UN, but
One
you,
day
I
if it
mean,
supports your narrative, you use it.
no. I don't like
think
the
you have
UN.
I honestly don't think you have a point, Othello.
I do have a
Yeah,
point.
no.
All right, let's hear your
She
point.
said,
Regardless-
she said that she lied. She
Never
said,
mind she. Never mind she. What is
no,
your
no,
point?
No, I was responding to
I
her,
am
not you.
Okay, never mind her point.
kicked.
What do you have anything to say otherwise other than you just
No,
agree with
don't
me?
interrupt me. I
I'm
was
not
speaking to
interrupting
her, and I was speaking to her
Okay.
point. If her point is
Okay.
wrong, then
All right.
say
So
it.
we're done with that. We're done with her point. You disagree with her point.
If
Great.
her point is wrong, then say it, Norm. Say
Okay.
it. Say it.
I'm not
She was
making
wrong.
her point.
She
I'm
was
not
wrong.
making. You don't understand her point.
I
So
said
you're
most
creating-
of
You're
the
creating.
men
You're
adult
creating a straw
men.
man from her point.
Correct.
No.
No.
And
Yes.
Norm
Yes.
even talked to you and said 70 or 80% of the men are,
According to
of
polling.
the whole population are Hamas supporters.
And
They're
men
not
and women.
militant. They're
Men
not
and women.
militant.
But
They're
we
not
don't know if they're militant or not.
They're not
That
militant.
we-
We
that
can't
remains
say
to
that
be
because
seen.
there
No,
was
that's
an
propaganda. That's where the
election.
We don't know.
No, it's
Again,
not
that's
propaganda.
where the
Again,
It's
again,
called,
Othello.
not-
it's
Othello.
not propaganda. It's called
Othello.
election
If
statistics.
they had access to
He said they're
900,000
not
men,
militant.
then they would have trained them.
Okay.
Trust me.
No, they are
Yeah,
not
trust me.
enlisted, you idiot, is what I've been trying to tell
If
you.
they had access
It's
to
not
900,000,
like a normal military
Othello,
where
it
you
doesn't
go
matter
and
what
enlist.
it doesn't matter what Issa says or I say. Neither you nor I know exactly how many Hamas there are, and they're not letting us know.
Nobody
What we do
knows.
know is that we're
Point is
fighting them.
wrong.
Now,
You cannot-
regardless.
her point
What's
is
that?
wrong. That's the whole
Okay,
thing.
fine. You disagree with her point.
And
Great.
it
You
cannot
disagree.
be proved.
Great. You're
She
not
lied.
winning any. Great.
She lied.
She didn't lie. You just
She
disagree
lied
with
to
her.
the room.
No, you just disagree
I
with
didn't
her.
lie
No,
to
she
the
lied
room.
to
point
the
is-
room.
I am
No, you
explaining
just
to you the
disagree with her.
numbers and how the logic works. Now, if you don't agree with that, that's another story. But I'm
That's
You don't
You're
even
welcome
have
to-
the numbers. You don't even know
You're
how
welcome
many
to
men in
agree or
Gaza there
disagree.
are. You don't
Alright.
even have
Okay,
the numbers.
I'm ready to send him down. He's fixated on you. You got
Yeah,
to.
me too.
You're trying to
You have it.
moonlight as some
Othello.
intellectual. You don't
Othello,
even have the numbers.
Othello, with
You're
Issa
trying to
aside,
pretend that you're some intellectual. You don't have
she's
the
an
data.
intellectual. She
You
is.
don't have the data.
Everybody say goodbye to Othello.
What are you lying about?
Everything. I'm a liar.
She's not really a virgin. I heard it from
Yeah,
excellent
that's
authority.
What
But
it
you
doesn't
can
take
become a
into
virgin again.
account
What's that?
is that Hamas has total control over all of the education of the children, and they basically are raising these children to be soldiers, and they have been since 2006. And there are videos that they put out themselves, and including videos of Sinwar giving weapons to children as early as age 6.
Unfortunately, you're 100% correct.
So a couple of things here that I've witnessed. I was listening I was hoping you'd get through Issa. I knew there was one more point you needed to go. For the record, after Issa spent a night with me by a fire, bearskin
Oh my
rug,
God, Brad.
she's never going to be a virgin again. I just promise you that.
I cannot believe he pulled the exact same move with me. I can't believe this, brother.
So,
But does that make
first
us
off,
hermanos de leche, Brad?
Oh my God, that's disgusting, Norm.
Gracias.
Ugh.
But I mean,
Anyway.
so the fighting thing. First off, he was going. You don't have 70,000 fighters. We don't know who the fighters are because we don't wage war. They don't wage war that.
They are not enlisted. Like
They're not.
the
It's
US
not an
military.
army. Yeah, it's not an army we fought. It's the same way we didn't know how many Syrians, how many Iraqis, how many Iranians. We really don't know. The Iranian army we can fight. We can beat. They're easy cake. But to go in and go door to door to fight like insurgents, we have no idea. We don't know if a woman is actually pregnant or carrying C4. You can't distinguish between those. So combatants in an area have changed. The rules have changed, mostly due to some of the IRA's fault and some of the Middle East fault. Like we can call it for what it is. This is what happens when you change the way wars are conducted, which has happened throughout centuries. Now we don't know who's the enemy combatant on a male side or a female side, and so we label all of them potential combatants because that's what they are. And since you have their terror cells or groups hiding amongst the population, that population, unless they're waving a white flag going, hey, IDF, they're here, it's not going to matter at this point. People always pay for wars. Look at World War II, look at the civilian damages throughout Europe, and you'll actually understand a little bit more common sense about how wars are conducted throughout the world.
And the thing is that you just need to kind of like extrapolate, right, data. So what I was telling him is, okay, so roughly 50% of population is divided between men and women. Okay, so if there are 2 million Gazans, whatever it is, so you have like 600,000 women and 600,000 men. Now, based on that, and in Gaza, I think that it would be less because there are a lot of combatants and people that have died in war and whatever. So I bet that there must be less men than women. So, but let's say 600,000. From that, you need to take out, of course, children and men that are of an old age. Gaza has got a very, very young population, so there are many children. So when you take all of these numbers, then you remain with a percentage of men, and you need to take from there also deduct the people that are officially enlisted in Hamas. But then with whatever is left afterwards, you have a lot of supporters. As Norm said, about 70-80% of the population is supportive of Hamas, of the whole population. So that leaves you with a smaller number than 600,000, but it's still a large number. And when you take into consideration that most of the men are supporting of Hamas, they don't need to be enlisted. They just need to throw a stone or present aggressive towards the military that is securing the areas, and then they will be considered militant. And to what Sam was saying, Hamas is the government. They're in charge of the education system. If you have seen the programs, the TV shows that they show to children when they're 2, 3, 4 years old, and how they teach them to do math with Jews, like, oh, if I have 5 Jews and I kill 2 Jews, how many Jews do I have left? I mean, these people are indoctrinated. So yeah, men that grow up, they are already ready to fight, and that is part of the strategy. You don't need to be part of the military. You just need to be willing to die for them.
And I'm just going to say this. The woman that is both Irish and Jewish by injection isn't wrong about her statement. So I'm just letting you guys know, like, she's actually pulling facts. And Lisa doesn't care one way or the other. She's not on one side particularly or the other. She's just more about the factual base. She would call it for what it is.
People don't.
No, and then when what I was saying about the UN numbers is when you look at the raw data that Hamas is reporting, these are Hamas numbers, and you see the whole amount of people that have died, and then you cross-check it with what IDF is claiming. So the vast majority of men that have been killed are reported as combatants. So that means that when you focus on the civilian numbers, you will find almost no men there because they have been reported as combatants. So if there are no men or barely any men in the list of civilians, then yes, you will have percentages of 80% or 70% of women and children because it's the leftovers. But then when you realize that out of 40,000 people that have died, 20,000, so 50% have been reported as combatants, then yeah, the other 20,000 that have been killed are women and children. And that's when they say, oh my God, look, most of the civilians or 80% of the civilians that have been killed are women and children. How dare they? Well, because there are no men accounted in the civilians. So that's the reason why you're able to play with statistics. And when you have the raw data, you can always create a narrative that is convenient to you. But you can also be a critical thinker and try to make your sense on your own of the data you're looking at. But that's too much work for Othello. Othello prefers that somebody tells him what the data means.
I invited him to the state.
They just removed him down, so don't do that. But the other thing that I have, hold on. The other thing that I have the issue with is when we have these whole debates is, why is it that you never talk about, like, no one ever brings up and he's like, oh, Israel's doing this and all this stuff. You don't talk about the Palestine that exist within Israel, the citizens there, or you don't talk about the Christian ones that had to flee, or the 500,000 that are parked their asses in Chile and other places around the world because they were being persecuted by, guess who? Fucking Hamas itself. So, I mean, like the whole PA didn't even like that. So they all fled during that time. So I'm kind of confused by, like, why you're cheering on this whole narrative when you have all these other outside sources and you have this history of going through where they tried to topple Kuwait, they tried to topple Jordan, that fucking Egypt spent 50 years fucking trying to get rid of them. I mean, the whole Hamas thing, the whole fucking Muslim Brotherhood shit. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, like, at least get your facts right before you go on stage and go after someone like Norm or Issa and Daniel who done this shit.
But it's also the logic. These guys are just consuming and swallowing whatever the TV has chewed for them. And whatever they say, they come and repeat. Another thing is that you need to see the demographics and you need to understand the culture of these places. When you're looking at statistics where they claim that anyone from 18 years old and under is classified as a child, that is not how this society works. In this society, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, even probably younger than that, they are already being taught how to deceive the enemy and how to provoke the enemy and how it is noble to die for the cause. So when you have these teenagers, that are already playing a role in the war, you report them as quote-unquote innocent children. They are already combatants. So you also need to take that into consideration. So it's not just about the plain numbers. There is a logic or a reasoning behind reading the numbers.
Yeah, these people are playing by a different paradigm than people in the West are. They don't understand that they don't really have free choice or free will because their will is the will of the state, or the people who control the state, which in this case is Hamas. So the vast majority of the people, and not only are they controlling them intellectually, but emotionally through religion. So they give them their religion, they give them their identity, they give them their marching orders, and this is the reality of the culture and the nature of Hamas.
And not only that, but we're talking about a culture that is taught that dying for a cause or a war in the name of the religion is something virtuous and that will get you to paradise. So for them, dying is not a punishment. It is a religion that worships death, or an ideology that worships death. So if they put themselves in the face of death, they are doing something virtuous. So when you talk about a population of civilians that, if you were talking about civilians that are trying to run for their lives, that's another thing, another completely different situation than when you're facing civilians that are willing to sacrifice their lives and putting themselves in danger just in order to prove a point or to achieve an objective. So yeah, the IDF, it doesn't matter how much they tell them when they're going to bomb a building or when they're going into a specific area and they give them enough time in advance, a lot of them decide to risk their lives and die for the cause.
And they have a word for it. It's called the Shahid.
Yeah. I don't know, like all of these facts take into consideration, and it's useful to try to make sense of the data. The data is not just like straightforward. The data helps you tell a story, but you decide what story you're going to tell. Othello, it just needs to go back to school. It's like he didn't hear anything. Or maybe he did, but his little peanut brain cannot process it. Yes, the room is over my head, and you are also over my head. The hospital bombing was pretty bad. Oh my God.
You know, you guys spend so much time talking about Israel. I'd like to read you a poem because you know you got a lot of drama and a lot of gossip you're talking about all the time. There's a lot of anxiety to talk about all this gossip and drama and murder and terrorism. It's very stressful to listen to all of this stressful topic. I want to read the poem to the room.
No poems. Why don't you tell me about the drama you were involved in about the doxing?
The drama about the doxing, you're trying to stir the pot. That's what you're doing best. You're cooking a pot of soup, and that's called Guatemalan watermelon. It's not a good soup.
I heard a little bit through your YouTube channel, like 10 minutes of it, and yeah, I'm wondering what happened.
Well, the best way to explain it is I'll put the link in the chat.
Just make sure the link has data, okay?
No problem. You know, people like to stir the pot, but so you know, if I gotta stir the pot and make the soup, nobody likes my soup.
Hey, baby.
Hello, everyone. Or expo.
Oh, this guy sounds like Norm.
Who's more?
Oh, above your head.
Okay. Hello, normal. What's up? So, I'm interested, guys. I just want to say my perspective about what's going on in this area, the bomb, and I am interested to know your feedback. Is it correct?
Just go ahead. If you have to ask for permission, you're going to bore everyone.
Yeah, like I see that the things that happened, like the 7th of October, what the militias or Hamas or whatever you call them did to Israel, it's just like it's just a play that Israel made, indirectly, of course. That is, they are trying to getting any cause or reason for them to like kill Palestinians or remove them from the place, just like Hitler did when he was trying to have a war with a different country. He was wearing one of the Germans or one of the prisoners as a like the other country's hat or the country that he wanted to invade, and he said that they are invading us or they are shooting us or they are killing us. So all of what happened is just like an indirect way of Israel to have a reason to killing Palestinians or to remove them from the land. What do you think about this?
So you want for Palestinians to stay in those conditions and live there while they reconstruct? Is that what you want?
Doesn't matter. I don't know Palestinians. I
mean, you are from Egypt, right? I mean, like, if you care so much about the Palestinians, why haven't you allowed them to flee to Egypt?
That's not my topic, my dear. I just was talking about something, and I want to know what you think about it. What do you think? Is it real or is it not? I don't know if you even got it, but I'm saying that all of this is just a play by Israel indirectly for getting a reason to go for Palestinians or to remove them from the land.
So you think that Israel sacrificed 1,200 people of their own just to get to claim? Yeah. This is so stupid.
But meanwhile, we fight for 2 years to get our people back. Come on,
yeah, they're sacrificing their own people. Yeah, Israel is holocausting their own people.
Right, and then so we can go and get them back. And by the way, everybody knows everybody in Israel. It's a small country. So don't you think we would know who's doing what, when, where, why, and how? It's only 10 million people in the country. 20% of which don't fight in the army.
So the Arab mind is such that generally they cannot think without thinking about prophecy or biblical or some sort of spiritual text, and without taking in whatever person's actions, right? So they always think that Israel's actions are biblically motivated. This is why they have to get rid of the Palestinians so they can build a greater Israel. So it's all about the Jews taking over land, more and more land, for them to have some sort of weird biblical conspiracy.
Not at all, actually. Israel are not a religious country. It's secular. So I'm not talking about this.
So why do you think they want to get rid of? Why do you think they need to get rid of the Gazans?
Can you get close to the microphone, Kareem?
Yeah, sorry, I blocked my headphones. I cannot hear you guys. So I'm talking at the same time without them. But what I'm saying that the government doesn't care about the civilians. And
what government doesn't care about the civilians?
No, what government?
The Israeli government doesn't care about what civilians?
yeah, you guys, Israel.
That Israel government doesn't care about the Israelis.
If they don't care, if you don't like the job, it's a democracy. We just vote them out of office. 1, 2, 3. Vote of no confidence.
That's what you see, but indirect.
That's the truth. Yeah, we have Israelis in the room. That's the way democracies work. I know you're not familiar with democracy, but that's the truth. If we don't like Bibi, we vote him out. Vote of no confidence, we put somebody else in. A lot of people want the job.
Democracy is a fraud.
No, it's not a fraud. There's nothing fraudulent about democracy. Why is democracy a fraud? Why is democracy a fraud?
It's just
because you don't have democracy?
Just small choices.
Okay, why is that a fraud? Sure,
can you be a president?
Yes, I could be a president.
Democracy is a philosophy, you schmuck. It's not literal, it's a concept, you idiot. You're a fraud, Kareem. You're projecting.
Kareem, why do you say democracy is a fraud? I don't get it. You know what democracy means? It means we elect people to represent our interests. If they don't represent our interests, okay, if they don't represent our interests, we vote them out. We don't vote for them again. How hard is this?
There's a trend of Muslims on Clubhouse saying that democracy is a fraud and it really doesn't exist. However, those same people also use democracy when it's convenient for them.
That's the Muslim way. That is the way of a Mohammedan, an Islamist, a terrorist.
Man, I'm not even a Muslim.
Congressman, what are you trying to say about democracy? Again, what are you trying to say?
Well,
it's the best system we have.
Well, nationalism, democracy, revolution. Like, how do you look at the French Revolution and say that
I want to see what this guy is saying. I don't want to go off on a tangent. What are you saying, Kareem? We had a fellow up here. He had no point.
I'm saying that the government is led unconsciously by kind of, I don't know what people are leading the government or whatever, but what they're saying for you guys is not what is really happening.
The government, that could be true in Egypt. It's not as so much true in the United States, and it's even less true in Israel, because Israel's a tiny country with a lot of different parties, and everybody has to get to know each other in order to form a coalition. So it's pretty clear who believes what in Israel. Again, everybody serves in the army. Everybody lives next to each other. It's only the size of New Jersey. And people live a long time. So that you get to know everybody. So I don't think your point really
Kareem is criticizing the simulation or the communication network.
Wait a second, John. I'm having a different conversation here. Okay, Kareem, so again, you don't trust your government, that's one thing. But to the extent possible, take a look at the wealth that's been created in Israel in the past 20 years. I think its economy is quadrupled thanks to deregulation and the technology boom. So the abundance of Israel has been increasing steadily, as has the abundance of the United States. So we're pretty happy with our government. We have pretty good health care. We have pretty good education. We have a pretty good military. We don't get taken over by other people. Those are good things. Those are good successes from the government.
Also, it's not like Israelis or even Jews are like a monolith and you all guys think the same. Like, there's so many people disagree. Yeah.
There are big differences.
But Norm, the country's $37 trillion in debt. How's that successful? That's not success.
They say that if you put 10 Jews in a room, you will get out 12 different opinions.
It's true.
Well, you can't really.
I don't have any. Go on.
Government isn't perfect, but it's the best that we can do given the
There
fact
is no perfect government ever and nowhere.
That's correct.
Where? Where is a perfect government, Kareem?
That's correct.
There is no such a thing as like it's not coming along like government and perfect, because government is built on like
people.
The government doesn't care about the people; they care about the system.
Government is the people.
I see it differently.
Okay. How do you see it differently? You have people, they get up, they go to school, they run for office, they get elected to office by other people. If they do a bad job, then we get rid of them. That's the way it works in a democracy.
Like this.
Well, that's the way it works. That's the way it works in our system. I don't know about your system. I'm not that familiar with
I'm not talking about Egypt or.
What do you know about the other countries? What makes you think you know all that?
All of what I'm trying to say, the system itself doesn't care about the civilians or the followers of it. It cares about having more followers and trying to ignite more fights within the followers or with
what's the basis of
there
that?
Might be okay. Hold on. There might be
What's the
some
basis of
truth.
this?
Hold on. There might be some truth on that, but if you are, even if you accept that that's the purpose of it, don't you think that then your logic on the other claim falls? I mean, like, if the government really wants to get more likes and more followers, why in the hell would they sacrifice 1,200 people of their own? How do you think that they're going to get more followers doing that? That would be stupid, don't you think?
they are getting right now.
How many people are part of your conspiracy? One person, 100 people? How many people are in on your secret that you made up out of your head?
Didn't mean anything. That's how I think.
Yeah, you made it up.
Well, not so fast though, Norma. Mikhail.
No, hold on. It's not that he made it up. He's trying to do kind of like a thought experiment, let's say, saying, oh, well, yeah, you know, Israel might be sacrificing their own people so that they have got the right justification to clean up Gaza. But now I am trying to make you think about what you're saying. Let's go with the claim. Let's say that that's true. When you start asking the other questions around that claim, it doesn't make any sense. So that means that your claim might not be logical. So if you're claiming that they're doing this in order to gain approval or gain followers or gain whatever because they don't care about the people, they just care about the followers, how exactly would killing 1,200 of your people gain you more followers? That would be a very bad strategy.
I think he's speaking generally, Lisa.
If the actual goal were to clean up Gaza, then don't you think that they could have done it some other way? I mean, like, they have got the technology, they have got the support, they have got everything. Why would they need to sacrifice 1,200 of their people?
We could just drop a bomb on Gaza.
Exactly. Like, if what you're saying is true, they wouldn't have to go through this. They could do it without killing their own people.
What is the?
And that's what
What is the
point? For you
point?
to think about your own claim.
I didn't continue what I'm saying. I was trying to say that any system in the world, not just Israel, is trying to do. It's like have two laws: more followers they are trying to reach, and more fights.
And do you see what's happening to Israel right now? Do you think that they're winning the public opinion war? Because I think that they're losing it. I mean, a lot of people are against Israel, so how exactly? They're very bad strategists. You know, according to you, this is gonna make them stronger. And it's bullshit. It's not making them stronger.
The war make the system stronger, whether it's revolution or whether
No,
it's war with
you're
another.
seeing a lot of people hating on Israel. A lot of the younger generations that are going to be leaders of tomorrow, they're hating on Israel right now. They will be against Israel in a couple of decades. So
That's what
why do you think that Israel will want that? Is stupid.
That's what the system wants, because the bad energy, or the kind of the bad, like the negative energy, the system lives on it, like psychologically and energetically, because I believe in the both, the material and the non-material way. So
You're not saying anything. But Karim, there are two options. Either Israel is the biggest
You're
evil,
not saying
or
anything.
they are the dumbest.
Israel is just,
Hold on, they are
one
the
government.
dumbest, but they cannot be the two at the same time. You gotta pick one.
Israel
If
is
they're the biggest evil, it would be like ridiculous that they went this way. They could have just done it and get over it, you know. Now, if they're stupid, then it doesn't make sense, Karim.
Israel is just one government in thousands of governments or systems that have been on this earth, and it's just the same stories happen again and again. I don't have anything other to say. I just will go with the audience. And as the Sefer Kodesh says, ماشي أيام في إيه ماشي الناس عارف الناس إيه ونقول حدا شاف Bye bye guys.
Was that Japanese?
What?
Was that Japanese?
No, it was a Jew.
Wow, look what somebody wrote in the chat. Isa's not looking for a counterpoint. She's looking for confirmation of her bias.
Johnny, Appleseed. That's okay. I mean, I might be wrong. I'm not saying that I am completely right, but I am explaining my thought process. And you guys are just coming here to repeat what somebody else gave you. And none of you are actually addressing the points that I'm trying to make with my logic. It might be faulty. I don't care. But you're not.
Yeah, you're good, Isa. Everything you said to that guy is right.
Hey, Mikkel, did you miss me?
I always miss you.
Aw.
Like the clouds of probability that make up our universe, Isa. It's never a certain.
Anyway.
Never have so many meaningless words be strung together in a simulation of a sentence.
That's true. But yeah, listen, like the conversation with Othello, right? Like I was just explaining how I came up with the logic I was presenting. I might be wrong, but he was not addressing the things that he thought I was wrong. He was just spewing more narratives that he already heard. He was not thinking with me. He just wanted to like say, oh, is this wrong? Is this wrong? Is this wrong? But he didn't want to explain how I was wrong or where my logic was faulty. Like, I don't mind if I am wrong. If you can show me that I am doing a bad reasoning, then show me. And I might say, oh, yeah, you're right on this.
Not everything's a conspiracy. You're right.
It's always,
What
it always comes down to, are people stupid or are they bad? Usually they're just stupid. I think in the case of the Palestinians, unfortunately, they're stupid. They make terrible decisions that have led to their own destruction. And sure, the whole world loves a loser and feels sorry for somebody who claims to be oppressed. But how long is that going to last? Well, once Gaza is gone, it's gone. You think it's just going to come back? It's not going to come back. They brought death into. They tried to wipe out the Jewish state, and they ended up wiping out themselves. It's a classic story.
Yeah. I don't know, like people here on Clubhouse, they don't come to actually have a conversation. It's just a matter of like, okay, let me see if I am able to sound smarter than you and if I can ask questions that you cannot answer. It's not about like, okay, let's reason together and let's see where we get, you know?
I mean, if you feel like you're the odd one out in this kind of mentality, then maybe it's your surrounding, don't you think?
No, well, yeah, of course. I mean, like my surrounding in Clubhouse is a lot of retarded people. I mean, I'm aware of that. And because I hung out with Jewish friends, they're always followed by Jewish hating people that are coming here just to spew a lot of, like, I don't know,